Friends, today we are going to discuss the section 14 of Transfer of Property Act, which is Rule Against Perpetuity. So this ensures the property can be transferred from a person to another person on the regular basis so that it can be used, developed, and contribute to the country's growth. So section 14 prohibits the transfer of property of an indefinite period. Okay. According to section 14, the Transfer of the Property Act, any transfer which makes a property inalienable or non-transferable for an indefinite period of time shall be void. Okay. The word perpetuity implies the indefinite period or forever. So the rules serve for the interest of the society as well as for the owner. So if you talk about the interest of the society, the property should change hands frequently to avoid harm in the indefinite inalienability. And for the owner also required to ability to transfer the property during urgent need or emergency situation. For the trade and commerce require frequent changes. The economy and development of the nation also depend on the property being transferable between persons. Okay, trade and commerce requires a property to be transferred between individuals, and if the property become non-transferable for an indefinite period of time, then the national development also halts. Then section 14, it allows a property remain inalienable for a definite period of time. So it permits the owner of a property to make the property inalienable or non-transferable for a definite period of time. The vesting interest of the property to the ultimate beneficiary can be postponed for a certain duration. If the property is made inalienable beyond the specific definite period, then the transfer shall be void under this law. Now, what does it mean by this property um, can be inalienable or non-transparent for a definite period of time? And when we are talking that section 14 has make it bar or it's void if we make the transfer for an indefinite period of time. So, for example, say as you know, for section 5 of the Transfer Property Act, a property transfer can happen to the absolute or maybe restricted, limited ownership, or maybe life interest also can be transferred. Okay, so for example, I have a property, and if I make a transfer life interest, say for my mother for her lifetime, and then after my wife for her lifetime, and then again to my son for his lifetime. So say my mother, she will have the property position for her lifetime, say for another 30 years. Then after her, my wife will have the position of the property for another 30 years, and then after her, my son will have the position of the property for next 40 to 50 years. So but no one is getting the absolute ownership, so that's why no one is able to transfer or sell that property. Okay, so it will be a indefinite period of time the property is getting non-transferable. Okay, so in this case, for last example, it's for 100 years, almost 100 years, the property is getting non-transferable. Okay, so that is a void situation as per the section 14, because this is not adequate for the society's benefit. If you also government also need to get earn money from the whenever there is a property frequent property transactions happen, because in every property transaction there is a registration fees we pay, and that's how the government getting develop or getting revenue from the property transaction. Also, if we make a property inalienable or non-transferable for say 100 years, then for a urgent need for myself or my family member, I won't be able to sell that property. I'm not able to get any revenue from that property. So that's why for an indefinite period of time, you cannot make the property non-transferable or inalienable. But in section 14 also allow a property can be non-transferable inalienable for a definite period of time. Say for example, if I say that I transfer a life interest to my mother, and then I after her, my daughter who is unborn that this time, she will get the absolute ownership. So that can be happen, because that is not it's not a indefinite period, it's a definite period, because I am making that transfer happen for a definite period. So 30 years my mother, or 40 years my mother, she will have the possession of that property, and after her I transfer the absolute ownership to my daughter or someone else. Okay, so this transfer is valid as per section 14. Here, if you see, I am delaying the delaying that inalienability, the transfer of the ownership, but there is for a definite period of time. So that is what it's valid in section 14. I hope you understand this concept. Okay, so now if you move to the next slide, so this saying that defining the maximum period of remoteness. Okay, so maximum period of remoteness, as I said, life of the living person, the duration of the life of the person currently alive at the time of transfer, the life, and then the majority of the beneficiary, the period that the final beneficiary reaches the age of majority. So these two, this is for a person maybe for 30 years, 40 years, the living person, and after he or her, the minority, when he become the majority, he will be able, the absolute ownership will be vested on him, and he will be able to further transfer that property. So for application, I say that A transfer a property to B, C, and D for life, and then thereafter E to a unborn person. So this is valid because this transfer is happening to the A is delaying that transfer for a definite period of time. Okay, so that is valid under section 14. Okay, but indefinite time, say for A cannot transfer a property to B, C, D, and E for life. Okay, so then it would be like nobody will, after E will also not be able to sell that property. Okay, so that is invalid or void. Now, remoteness for a ultimate beneficiary who is in mother's womb. So here, the maximum period of remoteness would be life of the living person, but the plus the gestation period, or the time when he or she is in the mother womb, plus the beneficiary minority until he reach the adulthood. Okay, so that is the maximum remoteness. Now the interest remains cognizant until the beneficiary reaches the age of 18 or the majority. So that is called the cognizant interest. The interest remains cognizant until the beneficiary attains the age of 18. In case, if something happens and the beneficiary dies before attaining the age of 18, then the property revert back to the original transferor. Okay, then this application section 14, this requires a transfer of the property. Okay, the doctrine only applied for the transaction where there is a transfer of the property. If any particular cases there is any transaction, if there is a no transfer related to the property happening, then the rule against perpetuity shall not be applied there. So it has to be really interest of the property involved in this section 14 transfer. And there is also some exceptional of rules of perpetuity. These exceptions are if the transfer happens for the public benefit, or the for knowledge development or the education purpose, or for any religious purpose. If that gift or transfer is happened, then that time you are transferring a property to a religious purpose, you can transfer for an indefinite period of time. There is no bar, or that is an exceptional case. Okay, for these cases. Okay, And another exception is for a personal agreement where there is no property transfer is happen. For example, if for a trust, if when they appoint a pujaris from the same family, then the it's exceptional. Then the rule against perpetuity does not involve here. It's a exceptional case. So there is two exceptional case as discussed. And now, if summarize the section 14, okay, this is basically the rule against perpetuity will balance the private ownership with the necessity of maintaining free property circulation for the national growth. The rules against perpetuity ensures that the property does not become inalienable or non-transferable for an indefinite period of time. This supports the trade and commerce, while while it limits the remoteness to life and being plus the minority of the beneficiary, as we have discussed. Also, it provides some exceptional uh, for public policy or personal agreement which do not involve the transfer of interest. So that was the complete summary of this section 14, Transfer of Property Act. Hope you have some information about this section. And in case you have any query or question, you can raise it to our channel. And thank you for watching.